Drawing is an optical illusion. We're tricking the eyes into telling the brain that what we see on a flat piece of paper is actually three-dimensional, with height, width, and depth. To create the illusion of depth and make things look farther away, artists have several tricks called perspective. Here are just a few. Size. Larger objects appear closer, smaller ones seem to be off in the distance. Placement. Closer things overlap those behind them. And value. Lights and darks, or shading. One of the most important tricks of perspective is value, creating lights and darks. We don't see things, we see light bouncing off of things. Where the most light is reflected and bouncing back, it looks the lightest. But then as the object goes back in space, less light reaches those areas and it becomes darker. And then, of course, you have that area where the light is not able to go because the object is blocking it, and we call that a shadow. We know that a golf ball is white, but we also know that it doesn't have a smooth surface. The way that we are able to see those divots is because there's an area that's darker. It's still white, but less light is getting to it, so it appears to be darker. We're going to begin exploring value with pencil. The first thing we need to do is identify the light source. We need to think about which way is the light coming from, because that's where the object will be the lightest. The most light is hitting it there. But as you move back around the object, it'll get darker because less light is able to get to those areas. And of course, there will be an area where light is interrupted and a shadow is cast. As I begin shading my sphere, I'm noting that my light source is in the top left. I begin on the bottom right then, where the sphere is going to be the darkest. I'm just laying down a very smooth, light layer of graphite right now. This will be the darkest area, but I'm not immediately going in and trying to press as hard as I can with my pencil or really lay down a lot of graphite yet. I want to eventually create a smooth transition between that lightest area and the darkest. And the easiest way for me to achieve that is to gradually build up my layers of value. Notice that my pencil moves with the contours, the curves of the sphere. I'm not using flat, straight strokes as if this were a coloring book. The direction of your marks matters. The movement of your pencil in those round strokes give that roundness to the object that I'm drawing. You'll see I'm blending using my finger a little bit. I'll add ebony pencil. It has a softer graphite that lays down even more color so that I can move it around even more easily. I'm also using my eraser as a tool, going in and picking up some highlights where maybe the white area of my sphere closest to the light source just got a little too dark. Finally, I lay down a light layer of graphite to start and gradually build up my shadow. The goal is not to have that outline visible. I want it to look like there's just a really soft edge. Most shadows you see will not have an outline, and they're usually about middle gray, somewhere between the very lightest area and darkest area of your drawing. We're going to talk about creating value with our chalk pastels now. Before you begin working with your pastels, it's a good idea to check that they're clean and just wipe them gently with a paper towel or a tissue. Get any extra color off there that you may not want to end up in your drawing. As we add value with chalk pastel, we're going to work from our lightest values to our darkest values. So you can see I've arranged my pastels, I'm ready to go. As you work, you may be sharing materials, so it's best to kind of just take a couple of colors that you might need at a time, just keeping in mind your value scale from light to dark. When I first fell in love with drawing, I went to a drawing camp as a kid, and one of the things that we did was create an apple showing the value with chalk pastels, and it was an exercise that I thought was really great, and so I wanted to share it with you today.